Hello everybody, we have a game with the white pieces against Dombrowski. Dombrowski, nice. Okay, so he plays his knight here. We're still going to try to transpose into the bishop's opening. Okay, now we do. Um, so we're going to play the knight out. He plays his knight out, we close our pawn chain, and we're back in our theory of bishop's opening. So he attacks the knight, pins the knight. We're going to support it with our other knight, no big deal. He opens up his light square bishop, and we just castle. The knight is no longer pinned and can jump into the center. So black moves the same piece twice, attacks our knight, but it's not actually a big deal. You can take the knight, he can take, you can attack the pawn, maybe he'll defend it somehow, but you could play c3, you can harass the bishop, that's one option. Another option is you can jump your knight in the center, that's something. Another option is you can play your bishop out, another option is you can play a3. Let's go with a3. He takes our knight. We can take with the pawn or the knight. Either one is fine. I'm going to take with the pawn to dislodge his knight, and we'll recapture this way. This also creates escape for our bishop, not that we need it. He attacks our queen, but this asks for f3, of course. He was walking right into it. And he goes back, trying to neutralize our bishop. There's no reason to give yourself triple isolated pawns, and there's no good way to avoid the trade. So you can either go back or potentially push to open up the queen. If you go back, you can fix your pawn structure. If you go forward, it's also interesting. Let's push forward. Let's play in the center. We'll recapture this way, get our queen to a better square. And now he undoubled our pawns for us. So we're not up anything, but we have a nice structure. We want to make our pieces as nice as possible. So let's get them as active as possible. This bishop and this rook. This is a good move, and this is a good move, because they both come with threats. Let's start with the rook. New piece, the bishop's already developed, and it comes with a threat. Maybe he'll put his rook behind it, or do that. That's fair. Now we can improve the other piece and connect our rooks. Either move order was fine. So he goes here when he might have needed to be kicking our bishop, because this seems to not pay attention to the threat we were making with this pin, which is pushing e5. Although I guess there he can go h6, take, take, take here. I mean, it's whatever. We could also take this way. If he takes with the pawn, that's good for us. If he takes with the other pawn, we can infiltrate with the rook. Also good for us. But this is kind of forcing, so which one? Takes or push? We know takes is good, so push. He has to counter push. Or maybe he throws this in, we move our queen somewhere, he counter pushes our bishop. If you go back, he hits it again. So you have to take. Wait, no, what am I saying? Here, 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 here. It's not everything I wanted. So let's take this way and create another file for our rooks. Probably good though, but like this one, I could see advantages right away. And he does this anyway, you see, so we didn't even take a pawn. He didn't even take back, I mean. So in this position, we can maintain the pin here because we didn't commit to e5. So we can maintain the pin, and now if he wants to break it, he has to weaken his king, but he doesn't get our bishop. We just move our bishop. Our bishop's still strong on a nice diagonal, and um, it's definitely better than his knight, which is stifled. And now he created these weaknesses, right? So we forced him to make, or he chose to make weaknesses. So let's improve our least active piece for free. And now we're going to outplay this guy just with piece activity, which is nice. So it's a 3-on-2 over here for him and a 4-on-3 for us. So that's generally going to be easier for black in an endgame. So let's try to outplay him a little bit. So he moves his queen here out of the line of sight. The drawback of this move is the alignment of these pieces. And like I said, active pieces will win us the game. That's how you only need to be like 1 or 2 tempi ahead with active position to really take advantage. And for example, my rook's on the open file, his is not. That one little fact means he does not control the square enough times. We have tactics. That's only 1 tempi difference in the position, but it causes the game to be lost for him. So now we're up a piece, and his knight looks really bad, right? So we're going to immediately dislodge the knight, which has no good squares towards the center. So he has to go to a weird square. Now that that's out of the way, no longer defending these, we can sneak our queen in or our rooks in with good effect. Let's bring our rook on the 7th like we're taught to do. Now his queen cannot move away from these squares. Then we can double our rooks nice and calmly while he wastes time trying to develop his knight and rook. So he jumps his knight to f4, but it's not actually doing it. Maybe it's going to go back here. That's his argument, which is fine. We're just going to double rooks. He can go there if he likes. We're going to, okay, so he does go here. Maybe he's looking to go here, but we have a pawn to kick it, which is always helpful. So let's try to get in further, right? We want to keep going. No calculation. I'm just putting my rooks here. This one stares at this stuff. So he jumps in because it looks like it blockades, but I already moved my rooks past the barrier, right? This barrier that he's blocking, they're already on the other side. So it doesn't really make sense. Also, you want your knight here because you don't want my rook to have access to this line. And this pawn is pinned, so we actually can put our rook here with check. Does it do anything? If king over, we can go here. Otherwise, if king here, we can still take the pawn. Alternatively, we can start with kicking the knight, but that would allow him to go back and fix his mistake, in which case we don't have the tactic. If we take it and he takes it and we give a check, he has to move his king here and then check. He has to move his king. Oh no, that's defended. What am I saying? So here, sack, takes, check, king over. Do we have anything there? Queen g6. Queen here. No, I think that works. I think that works for me. I think I could sack the rook. I hope so, because I'm going for it. I'm sure rook g6 was winning, but I want to sack a piece and see if this works. So he has to go here. And then I think the key is the quiet move, queen g6, threatening rook h7 checkmate. And then if he goes here to control that square, we have queen takes h6. So a lot of people would stop their calculation after king over because there's no checks that are good. But it's about the squares, and I've been learning that only recently. It's very hard to learn. It's about squares, and so queen g6 is just about picking the right squares. So he defends this way, But now we take here, and he has to block with the queen, and that would lead to a checkmate in one. Okay, so that was definitely more forcing than rook g6 variation. Because you either win the queen or checkmate here. Awesome. That was really cool. So let's go through the game. This is like the Nimzowitsch defense, so if you play principal, then just put your second pawn in the center. And I don't want to walk into someone else's theory, so I just try to transpose to bishop's opening, center, development, center, development, center, development. And now he's hitting the knight, which isn't a big deal, but still center development. King safety. And prophylaxis, getting his pieces off of our side of the board. This is our territory. He takes, force move. He takes, force move. Here, I mean, your queen's hit, so it's kind of like force move, f3. And then here, you could take his bishop, but why strengthen his center, right? We don't want that. So we play in the center, and it's development. It's center and development, because if you look at our queen, it's not good on the light squares. It would rather be on the dark squares, but if you open up to the diagonal, then it doesn't mind again. So it's development and center. Force move, our queen's much happier here, because it has the whole, queen side to apply pressure to. And this is a forced move, center. Our center's better. Material's even, but you would rather be white here. Development, weaknesses, now that it's the middle game. Development, weaknesses. And then forced move, I'm sure they're both good. Let's go to the analysis board. Put on the engine real quickly. D5, I wasn't even looking at D5, so it just likes the positional bind the best, because this is a backwards pawn that you could have eternal pressure to. Kind of Benoni-esque in the structure, whatever. You could also take, so how bad is E5 then? Oh, it's also just playable. Okay, so taking is playable, E5 is playable. What was I looking at? I was looking at E5, H6, or E5 pawn push, queen somewhere, then H6. Pawn takes. Oh, you could take with the bishop. Yeah, you could just take with the bishop and ruin your structure. I didn't even consider that. I was calculating the much harder to look at lines. And now here is kind of where I was like, I don't see a move that's amazing, but white's position is probably good. And yeah, it's +1, so white's position is probably good. But okay, so I went for takes, and then force move, development and center, least active piece. And this is just a blunder, move 19. So very logical stuff, nothing crazy, it all makes sense. Just develop your pieces until your opponent just messes up and goes to the wrong square. Easy enough. Hope you learned something. Good luck in your chess. Submit your rapid games in my Discord, link below. Goodbye.